Hello everybody, I'm Simon Wood and I'm here to give you the flipped recording of EDU70009 assignment 2, which is in a folio. So we've clicked on the assignments tab and we'll go down to assignment 2 and click on assignment 2 folio. And we can see that assignment 2 is a word limit of 2,500 words plus or minus 10%, a weighting of 50%, and due date is 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, Friday, 4th of October. Seems like a long way away, but it'll soon come up on us. So let's have a look at the assignment overview. This individual assignment task provides you with an authentic example of planning within the humanities. Your folio is a collection of artifacts generated by you that show your readiness to teach in each of the humanities learning areas explored within the unit. So just like many other assignments you'll do during your course, this one focuses on resources and a discussion of resources and putting together a folio. This is on the one hand, this gives us an opportunity to sort of have a look at your ability to discern quality resources and be able to analyse those, but also gives you an opportunity to build up your own folio that you can use in the classroom. So it's got sort of a twofold purpose, which is really, really useful. So the first section is, first of all, to establish a couple of just resources. This section is 500 words, and you're going to be using this template to present them. You'll notice that in the first column we have geography, history, civics and citizenships, and economics, and then the given year levels of foundation to 2, foundation to 2 again, level 3 to 4, and level 5 to 6. This is non-negotiable. These are the learning areas and the age groups that we want you to focus on. So use this as a template to work with. In the middle column there, we have the inquiry question, the curriculum focus, and then the actual resource and evidence there. So if we just go back up to here, it says your folio is to include the following information, and that will be put into the table. So the inquiry question, that's the middle column. An inquiry question for each discipline area that links to a curriculum focus that you have decided upon. And B, 2 resources for each inquiry question. These resources can include books, web-based resources, multimedia resources, and images. So there's quite a lot of things to choose from there. Some really good opportunities to demonstrate your ability to choose a really good resource. So as I say, if you can make sure that the links are live hyperlinks as well, so we can have a look at any other information you get. What we're not really looking for is, for example, an entire lesson plan. We want to focus this on the actual resources you're going to use. So then you're going to evaluate, as the second part of this, you're going to evaluate those resources, or one of them at least. It says, respond to the following questions for one of the 2 resources you selected to use for each discipline. So, for example, in the history example we have up here, we've got Turravale Ice Company, welcome to Mr. Iceman, and we also have an image of a domestic phone from the 1940s. They're your 2 resources. You're going to choose one of those and answer these questions. You'll do the same for each of the learning area stroke year levels that you were talking about. So the way we discuss those in this evaluation section is, in what ways will you use the resource? What are the challenges in using that particular resource? How do you know this resource is useful or relevant to this grade level and this discipline area? So you're justifying its choice in that sense. And what will students learn through using and engaging with that resource? So that's fairly straightforward. Now the next part is we're going to look at teaching within the humanities. Again, this is another 500 word section. Choose one of the options below, A, B, C or D, and explain how you would teach it to the specified grade level. Okay, so for example, if you chose A, you'd be looking at identify and describe continuity and change over time in the local community, region or state, and as a result of the effects of European explanation. That's what you're teaching. How are you going to do that to a specified grade? All right. Only choosing A, B, C or D. Now then, once you've done that, section 4 or question 4 asks you to analyse your choice. So with the same teaching example. So if we started with A, we're still looking at A. And this time you're going to use the same teaching example for as section 3 and justify your choice of assessment strategies and record keeping instruments to assess student learning. So the first part here, in question 3, you're explaining how you would teach it, and in 4, how you would assess it. Okay, so we might be looking at formative assessment, etc. We actually, I think it was the week before last that you were asked to discuss, or some of you were asked to discuss assessment in there. Think about the different types of assessment that you might want to use: summative assessment, formative assessment, etc., and how you would actually do that and how you go about it, what you need to assess and how you're going to assess it. Section 5, just 250 words. So you're going to have to be really, really careful with your choice of words in this. Choose a controversial issue that is in the news at the moment and write a 250-word statement about your approach to exploring this issue with students. An excellent reading to use is and there's a link there to a really good reading that might sort of help you before you really start thinking about that too much. So it can be any controversial issue. Try and choose the one that is fairly current in the news, and that sort of demonstrates your ability to be discerning in this. And you will find in the humanities that it's not uncommon to come across discussion points or issues which are controversial. We don't shy away from that. We address them in an age-appropriate way, and the topic should be, of course, age-appropriate for this. And that's something we'll look for in our assessment of this little section. That if you're choosing a controversial topic, be clear about the age group you're going to be working with as well. Number 6, humanities across the school. It says, and again, it's only 250 words this, identify examples of engagement with humanities concepts outside of the formal classroom context. And they've given an example of a student representative council. So we include this list in an appendix. You can have as long a list as you like. There's all sorts of examples. Put it in the appendix, that way it won't go towards the word count. But lots and lots of examples, because you're going to use those in your discussion. So the more examples, the more you demonstrate your understanding of the opportunities students have for learning outside of the formal learning environment, for learning humanities concepts. Then, once you've got that big list, which you've placed in the appendix, you write a short response answering the following questions. First of all, what do students learn from involvement in these sorts of activities? And B, if the discipline concepts are lived through these experiences, do they have to be formally taught in the classroom? Providing reasons to justify your answer that include references to your list of examples. So use your examples to illustrate your argument. So the first part is saying, okay, what's the advantage? Why do we, what can we learn, and what benefits can students get from these outside activities? And B, if they get so many benefits, do we actually really need to teach it formally in the classroom? That's the discussion you're going to have. And as I say, use the examples that you've already come up with just to illustrate what you mean. APA referencing as usual across all section. There's no minimum number of references required, but you'll know more if you read more as usual, etc. And we have links there to a reference guide, your assignment support, and your essay writing guide. Let's pop down to the assignment criteria. Just to say that, as usual, I will address this in the Collaborate session. I'll go into this much more deeply. It's useful here if you have a look at it. The sections are itemized, so you can actually look at this guide to making judgments and this rubric and see exactly what we're looking for from each section. So, for example, if we look at the high distinction in section 1 and 2, so the first two parts of this assignment, your folio demonstrates a sophisticated capacity to justify and analyse choices of teaching resources. So you can see not only what we're looking for, but what specific parts of your assignment we're looking for them in. So that's really useful. And I'm not going to go into this in depth now, but other than to say, as usual, you use this rubric for the purposes that I use it for, and Matt will be using it for, which is to guide our and justify our assessment of your assignment work. You need to do the same. So look at it, say, okay, what are they looking for? How can I demonstrate that within my discussion, within my writing, so that they can find it easily and I can get the marks that I fully deserve. So that's the main point I'd say. And I'd say that, and I say this to grade 3 and grade 4 kids as well. Use the guide to making judgments to improve your work. So a couple of references down here, which we've covered already. That's all I really want to discuss in this little flipped recording. I look forward to seeing you all next week on Wednesday at 7:30 for the Collaborate session. Bring any questions that you have. We can talk about any ideas that you might have in terms of resources, etc., that we might want to look at. Any controversial topics, you might want to throw them out there, see what people think. So come armed with that and be ready for, we'll try to keep it as short as possible, but we'll cover as much ground as possible as well on Wednesday evening. So until then, thanks for watching this, and we'll see you on Wednesday.